Hello everybody, this is Bitcoin Macro, and on this video guys I'm gonna talk about several coins that are very hot right now, and most of them are brand new. Some of them haven't even launched yet, but I'm gonna talk about them, their IOUs, so essentially some trading that is going on in these coins before they actually launch, some of the implications of that, why you should avoid it, and many other things. Before I move into the stuff that I'm gonna talk about, I would just like to say now, these are a little bit more risky. They are a little bit out of my scope because I'm more of a technical trader and they don't really give me that many information. I don't have that much information regarding those coins so that I could just make an accurate price prediction or like, let's say, a call or anything. Because for those that have been following me, at least over the last few days, they have seen how many nice coins I've shared. Ethereum Classic, I've talked about Dogecoin, really big pumps for many of them, very nice calls, Bitcoin Diamond as well, and many others. So other than just those things, when it comes to some of the newer stuff, so far they haven't been doing very well, because what has happened is there's such an explosion into new coins coming into the market that the ones that are actually doing better right now are the older stuff. Okay, some forks, some, Ethereum Classic, which is a fork of Ethereum, or actually Ethereum is a fork of Ethereum Classic. Then we have Bitcoin Cash doing very well, Litecoin, Dash. So in general, it's stuff that actually had a massive capitulation and hasn't really pumped as much. And it's pretty much new money coming in, and they just go and buy the stuff that they can actually relate. So Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and all that stuff, they're way easier for a newbie to relate. Maybe they think I'm gonna buy the cheap Ethereum, so they buy Ethereum Classic, or they think I'm gonna buy a cheap Bitcoin, so they buy Bitcoin Cash. So for now, at least these projects that are launching now, they are kind of heavy because there's so much, let's say, I shouldn't say dumb money, but there's like fresh money that tries to get in, but at the same time there are so many people that were actually in these coins just for a flip, not just because they actually believed in it long term, that there is actually a lot of supply coming out of those coins, which means that the higher the expectations, the higher the price for those coins, the less reasonable it is for that coin to sustain those prices, and then these things actually dump pretty hard. Then after that, potentially you can see very nice pumps, but initially at least we might see a correction before it goes higher, and I'm gonna explain why. So dfinity is one of the most anticipated projects this year. It's called the Internet Computer. Like if you check it, it will be ICP, so it's Internet Computer rather than dfinity. So that's the name, but at least the ticker and everything else is the Internet Computer. So it's a layer 1 blockchain. A lot of promises, a lot of stuff that people are expecting right now, and I wasn't really able to find a proper, at least with the amount of research that I did, as to how much money they raised or how many coins there would be out, but it was something between 100 million to $1 to $2 billion. Okay, now I don't know how much of the actual supply will be available immediately and all that stuff, but all I'm gonna say is that at the current prices, it looks like its market cap is gonna be very high. So if the market cap is very high, then that could potentially be a little bit of a problem when it launches. And currently there are a few markets where people can see the ICP IOU. So the first one is on MXC, which is very illiquid. It's an exchange that I quite like, but the truth is that right now this token had already moved up about 15x. Right now it's about 10x from about let's say the launch of the trading of the IOU, and that happens because it's a low supply, so there aren't that many IOUs trading on this exchange. But at the same time, the truth is that we don't know how many coins they sold, or if they are manipulating the price themselves. So no matter how much you could trust an exchange, this is not showing an accurate picture, because it's just a fraction of the supply trading on a small exchange that not many people trade on. And if we just look at the FTX, the price of that token on FTX is about 100 times less on FTX than it is on MXC, which is a huge difference, guys. Okay, so at least if you go and buy one of those, buy the FTX one and not the ICP one on MXC. Again, nothing against the exchange, but the truth is that at least if you expect to hold this for some time, it would be a lot cheaper for you to buy it on FTX and just hold it. Now the launch is going to be in about 18 hours. So I'm just giving you a heads up, guys, that this is going to happen and that initially we might see a bit of a dump. Yes, lots of exchanges are going to list it, but that means that there will be enough liquidity for many of those whales that have been holding this project for about 2 years, okay? Or maybe at least, I think it might be 3 years actually, because they did the fundraising, at least it ended on August of 2018, if the information is correct that I have gotten. So it's about 3 years, and who knows how many other investors had invested much earlier than that. So these are things we need to take into consideration, guys. So no matter how good the project is, if this is the situation right now, then it might be a little bit tricky. Plus, with this launch, we might see a correction anyways for many coins, because I do believe that we have been running a little bit hot. So we might see some stuff correct. So again, it isn't impossible. I tend to prefer to play stuff versus Bitcoin, or at least be hedged, at least be kind of dollar neutral. So I'm mostly looking to perform well versus Bitcoin, because I don't know if things are going to go down or up. It's very unclear to me. So I'd rather take a more neutral position and not get wrecked, let's say, because there might be a big Bitcoin correction at some point soon. So that's what I had to say about dfinity. Again, guys, you do your own research as to why you like the dfinity, how much it supplies, the investors behind it, and so on. Because if, let's say, there are about 100 million tokens out there, if the price was the one on MXC and the price was at 300 something, then that project would be about 30 million. Okay, let's assume there is a 300 price, 30 billion. If there is a price of $300 per coin and there is 100 million tokens out there, then we're talking about a 30 billion project, and that's just a brand new project with no use case, nothing on top of it right now, which is bigger than Solana. So at least to me, something that would launch right now to become bigger than Solana doesn't really make much sense. And the reason that I say this, and I've said that before with many coins, I've said that thing with IOUs again and again. This was the IOU on Chia before it launched. It dropped 80% since that little high right there. Now, of course, at some point you could have traded this and have made potentially a nice 2x when the launch was about to happen, but look at the dump afterwards. And then if we look at the OKX price, it did kind of start from a similar price to this action right here. Okay, so these IOUs do affect the market. They do kind of give not a false promise, but this arises kind of because there are all these OTC desks. There is some trading OTC. Now these are usually people who are a bit more advanced, who have some connections and all that stuff. Some of them might be doing this to manipulate the market because they want to have like a price. To some people said maybe it's just hype. It all depends on how you want to see it. But overall, it's better to, of course, to buy now than buying then. Usually when we see an 80% correction, that's a great place to buy. If it goes even lower, it might be even better. Now, if you want to hold it for long term, then that's fine. But at least for now, for me, it's kind of hard to see how that would pump very hard, very quickly, except if you are betting that there will be some listings, because this is a hot topic, this is a hot token, and it might do pretty well. So right now, there is the Chia IOU, which is on MXC and Gate, okay, which is different, a little bit different. I don't know if the price has any difference right now, but so this is the Chia token on OKX and some other exchanges. So there's pretty much no real difference between the two. Okay, just a tiny percentage. So I don't know if they have actually resumed or actually activated withdrawals and deposits on those exchanges, but if they have, eventually the IOU will merge with this actual token, and the listings at least will appear right here. All the exchanges that have listed the token will just be on the same page. Again, it's all up to you. Now, this is a pretty hot token, at least coin, because it is using no proof of work, but it's using a pretty novel thing, which is essentially proof of space, because they are using hard drives. They're using the empty disk space you have for mining, essentially. So it does something completely different, but rather than using GPUs or CPUs or ASICs, it's using your hard drive to protect the network, which is very different from what we've had so far. And it's kind of weird because we don't know how secure that will be, but it does mean that everyone can really participate a lot more easily. And there are already tons of data centers all around the world that maybe they could use that empty space for, let's say, mining. Now, of course, that makes it very easy for someone to attack it with botnets and all that stuff. But maybe instead of attacking, they end up protecting, and it might become one of the most secure networks out there. Now, one of the biggest backers, at least the founder actually, is Bram Cohen, who founded BitTorrent. So it's a very interesting project in the sense that he might actually know a lot of stuff. Well, he actually does know a lot of stuff, but maybe that project just turns like the project with Zuko because they knew each other. I can't remember the project they were working on back in the day. They were like one of the pioneers in the internet, but at least Zcash hasn't done well. It had at least one of the worst bear markets in the history of crypto. It has some pretty cool tech, but overall, I do believe Zcash is a big scam. I do think most of these things are quite scammy, or at least with very little potential. Now, if they did this without the token, I wouldn't consider them a scam, like, you know, but when you start selling something of dubious quality, of, you know, it's just something that might not even be useful. It's just a little dodgy, you know, because you're just riding the hype train and you don't really care about whether people get wrecked or not. Now, of course, there are lots of things coming in play in here, but overall, all I can say is that in a few years, the landscape will be totally different. When I look back 4 years, or even 2 years, or even a year, the landscape was totally different in crypto. So please, guys, just remember, like about a year ago, not even a year ago, the DeFi alt season hadn't even started. So when somebody tells you that, you know, they know the future, just remind them that a year ago, the DeFi boom hadn't even really started. It is a big difference, okay? Just in 1 year. Imagine thinking an entire bull market before, because that was when those tokens actually started pumping. Now add 4 years, plus remember that the more we grow, the faster things are moving. Banks are getting in, PayPal is getting in. So the pace of innovation is just going to explode. So anything you think you know right now, just forget it. Or at least remember it for now, but be ready to forget it later on. That's what I mean. Let me close some tabs right here, so just I can free some space so I can see whether I have some stuff to say. So next few stuff I'm going to talk about is SafeMoon and truebit. But before that, guys, I want to talk a little bit about the Casper listing, which is going to happen soon as well. So it's going to happen on May 11th. Just letting you know, it's going to happen on MXC and Casper Labs on Ascendex, which is the old BitMax. And before truebit, it's one thing that I kind of forgot, which is MINA. It's another one, because I want to tell you guys about this one as well. So this one is also one project that has been talked about a lot, and it's another one of those on coinlist, along with many others. So this is also trading on a shady exchange. And if you think about this, guys, now this price is about $40. Now, if I go on the Explorer right here, well, the project hasn't launched yet, but if this is the total currency that it has, if we are talking about 800 million units of that currency times 40, then that's a $3 billion currency right now, or even more. It's about 3.5 or something, which is very, very large. It's very, very large. So maybe, yes, maybe the people that invest in these things just benefit a lot, and that's why so many people want to rush in on the coin list, IEOs or ICOs, or you call them whatever you want, the fundraisers. But the truth is that you should be avoiding these because they are very illiquid. We don't know how many of those units exist on this exchange. We don't know if they actually even own the MINA tokens. So, you know, if you haven't bought already, just wait. Usually the best thing is wait for a few listings, wait for the project to dump. And the more hot things are getting, the more I would just recommend to buy proper setups rather than coins that are just launching, because these ones might stay flat for a few months and then they might pump on the next run, on the next alt season. It's just something that I've observed, so just be careful, because you might be looking at all these IOUs. It was just another thing that I wanted to mention. So that's it from me, guys. Once again, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found that information useful. I'm trying to do as much as I can to give you guys as much information as possible, as much as quality information as I can, to help you both grow and help you protect yourself. So I always try and give you some hot stuff. I try to tell you what to watch. Maybe, you know, I like all these things, but if I don't see something bullish right now, I'll just say it's not bullish. That's it. So once again, please like, subscribe, comment, leave a comment down below. Just let me know if you didn't like what I said about the projects that I said. Just let me know what you didn't like, or what you actually like the projects in a civil manner. If you didn't like something that I said and you have a negative criticism, just let me know. And at the same time, guys, you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Telegram, you can follow me on TradingView as well, where I post lots of updates. And that's where I do most of the stuff that, you know, the charts will stay there. It's easy to find them. You can see all of my information. Just now I got a notification, you know, so you can leave a comment there. I'll definitely see it way easier than YouTube, because there is a lot of spam on YouTube as well. So once again, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.